Hello, I'm Gavin Horgan, Headmaster of Millfield School in Somerset, the largest co-educational boarding school in the UK. Welcome to the Millfield Way Podcast. Here, you'll hear from teachers, coaches and students from Millfield and Millfield Prep School. Millfield is traditionally different, and this is the Millfield Way.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Millfield Way Podcast, where Millfield Prep pupils take over. My name is Georgina Fraser and we're delighted to be joined by Mr. Davidson. We're also here with Millie McCarthy and Sophie Furlong. So, Mr. Davidson, what exactly is a marketer?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. I'm a marketing officer, so my job specifically, so we look to market Millfield School, or in my situation, Millfield Prep School. So that involves controlling social media, doing the website, doing podcasts like this with heads of department. My job is to basically show off the school to the best of my ability to then attract families and parents like yourself, pupils, to come and join the school.
And what's it like working for Millfield Prep School?
It's great fun. I've really enjoyed Millfield. I went to school in Somerset, so I went to Wells Blue School. So my opinion of Millfield from when I was younger was really good at sport. But having worked there for 2 years now, I think the biggest thing for me was realising that there's so much more that goes on. Even kind of at the prep school, you've got drama, academics, loads of different things. I really enjoy it. I really like sport and drama, so I like watching the productions and fixtures. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far.
To you, what is the key to be a good and successful marketer?
That is a great question. I think one of the key roles is you have to be creative. So what a lot of people are guilty of is kind of sticking to the same thing year in, year out. I think you have to be kind of creative in the way that you market something. And I think you have to be flexible. So if you work at a company like Millfield, you'll come across a lot of different people that want to do different things. So I think you have to make sure that you can be flexible with the people you work with and also be creative at finding new ways to do things.
So what made you want to do this job?
So I studied journalism and I did a few weeks work experience at Bristol Live, which was great fun, but I ended up doing a master's in PR and communication. And I found that my strength was kind of talking to people and almost kind of that sales aspect of it. So I thought I'd get into marketing and see what it was like. And as I finished my master's, the job at Millfield came up and I thought, I know of Millfield, it's a really nice place. So let's see how it goes. So it is my first job in marketing, but 2 years down the line, I've thoroughly enjoyed it and haven't looked back since.
So would you say that marketing is like your dream job?
I'd say it is, yeah. I'd love that I get to do kind of different things every day. So, for example, a lot of my friends won't be able to say that they're getting interviewed by pupils in a podcast for their day at work. So I thoroughly enjoy my job. I get to do social media, I get to do websites, I get to make videos. So I get to do loads of kind of different stuff of content, which is great fun. So yeah, I think I found my industry.
So are you good with computers and Instagram and that stuff?
Well, I'm very sceptical that we've got the head of computing and ICT in the room with us. But I'd like to say that I'm fairly good at computing. I know how to use kind of different software like InDesign, which is really important in a marketing job. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a tech whiz, but I know how to get from A to B.
So is it a big responsibility?
What, marketing at Millfield? Marketing. I'd say it's a fairly big responsibility. I think a lot of people don't quite know what it is that people in marketing do, which is fair enough, because if you don't necessarily work in it, you might not be aware. But we have to kind of show off how good the school is. And Millfield, there's so many things that happen. It's like you guys know, you'll do loads of different topics and you'll go on trips and everything like that. But if there's no one to kind of tell people what is happening, then no one knows. So yeah, I'd say it's fairly important.
Do you like the fact that you don't really know what you're supposed to, what is going to happen next, what you're going to be doing next? Do you like not knowing what you're doing?
I think that's one of the fun parts of this job, and particularly working at Millfield, is that every day is different. It's like you said, this morning I've been working on producing the newsletter, the weekly newsletter, and this afternoon I'm getting interviewed by pupils for a podcast. So I think it definitely adds that bit of fun, not kind of knowing what's next. Yeah. But you do also have that structure. So you have kind of big events so like rock and pop. And there's always the big production. So Matilda this year, you have those kind of benchmarks in the year so you know what's happening. But yeah, I'd say it's fun to not know what's next.
So how long have you actually been marketing for?
What, as in working-wise?
Yes.
So, that's a good question. So whilst I was studying my master's, my postgrad, I was working as an assistant lecturer, and part of that job was basically marketing the university. So I did a year there, and I've almost been working at Millfield for 2 years. So I'm about to be 3 years it is in the marketing industry.
What are your sort of like standards for like things to put on?
What do you mean? As in
like
different types of content?
Yeah, different content.
I'd say it varies. So a lot of the videos we do day in the life videos, and I think that's one of the best ways to market the school is to kind of show people what a day at Millfield Prep might be like. So yeah, we've got the standard we produce in that is it's high quality. Again, one of the main things we do in our job is making sure that everything we do is on brand, because you have to remember, although Millfield is a school, it's a brand as well. So you have to make sure that everyone's kind of on board and understands what we represent. But yeah, so day in the life videos, obviously podcasts, and then social media. We try and post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So yeah, you can find us on the similar sort of channels. But yeah, high standard of quality is what we aim for.
Do you ever wish that you could go like beyond the standards and expectations and do something really creative?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one of the school values is, it's be disruptor at the senior school and it's to be a challenger at the prep school. But I think even though that's a value for the school, even in marketing, it's really important, because although you kind of have the expectations of what you need to do in a year, I think you have to be creative and kind of push the boundary to where you can try out different things and make different types of videos. So yeah, there's a guidelines you have to work within, but I think sometimes you can be creative and explore those a little.
So like on the websites and everything, how often do you update the photos?
Well, we do a big update in the summer. So once an academic year is done, we collect all the photos that we've done throughout the year and make sure that there's no kind of old photos. So we might have pupils that have gone into the senior school and are now in year 10, and they might still be in one of the year 8 photos. So we had to make sure we update all of those. But kind of as we do big events, so Matilda, for example, we make sure that production is then prevalent on the website so people can see it and aware that we've kind of been doing new things. But yeah, so gradually as we go along, but the main update is in the summer.
So what's your favourite thing about marketing?
I would probably say, coming from a journalism background, I quite like producing content. So whether that's video, kind of audio, so like a podcast like this, I really enjoy making new content, interviewing people, kind of finding out secrets or stories that people have and showing them off. So yeah, kind of maybe being a storyteller is my favourite part.
Do you have like a role model or someone you look up to for marketing or anything?
Apart from Jonathan Thord, maybe not particularly an individual, but a company like Nike. So a lot of my postgrad, I looked at Nike as a company and kind of what they believe in and how they make sure that everyone that works for Nike understands the brand. And the question you asked before about kind of pushing boundaries, I think they're a great example for a company that could easily stick to guidelines, but they push the boundary out a little bit to try and be creative. So I follow a lot of what Nike do in terms of marketing. So I'd say maybe not a role model, but a brand that's a good example of what to follow, maybe Nike, I'd go.
So what do you do in your free time?
My free time, well, I play a lot of football. I try and play golf, but I don't play it very well. I'm trying to think what else I do. I really like, so as I said earlier, I like sport and drama. I really like going to watch productions. But yeah, making sure I'm catching up with friends, everything like that, but a lot of sport.
What kind of got you into marketing?
I think when I did my postgraduate degree, one of my lecturers was heavily into kind of working with brands, and she was more into public relations sides of stuff. And I think having conversations with her about kind of what I wanted to do when I was older, she influenced my decision a lot, because she said if you can work in marketing and work with the right brand, it can be a really fun job. So yeah, I'd say she maybe influenced my decision a lot. But again, that journalism background I had probably pushed me into marketing. About telling stories is what I quite enjoy.
Has there ever been a point in like your marketing life where you've found it hard and you've wanted to give up?
Oh, that's a great question. I wouldn't say that there's been a point where I wanted to give up, but there's definitely been points where it's hard, and kind of your job is to kind of show whatever the product is you're selling that it's amazing. And obviously, if sometimes it's not the best as what you want it to be. So I remember my time at university, if we were trying to show off a certain department, and it wasn't what we wanted it to be, it's quite hard to sell that if you yourself don't think it's what it should be. But apart from that, I would say that, yeah, you definitely have, it's never a straight line kind of working in marketing. There's always bumps, speed bumps. So, yeah, maybe not give up, but there's definitely been hard times.
Do you prefer like the visual side or recording podcasts and things like that? What's your favourite part?
Oh, I would probably say visual, although I think if you ask a lot of the teachers, they would prefer podcasts, because a lot of people prefer not having a camera in their face and just being able to talk, because it is often easier. But I think for me, I prefer visually, because I like mixing between the sound and kind of the visual aspect. And yeah, I think when you're selling a product, so particularly Millfield, what's something we like to do is we like to get people to see the school, and we like to get people on campus. So for things like open days, it's great to get people on site and they can see how things work. So I would say visual is my favourite part.
Have you always wanted to be like in this industry? Have you always wanted to do something creative?
I would definitely say creative. I think a lot of the teachers I had when I was in school would definitely have said the same thing. I was always kind of the creative spark, as such to say. But yeah, I guess marketing kind of fell hand in hand. I was always wanting to do new things and be creative. So I would say maybe I wasn't destined to be in marketing, but since I've got into it, I've not looked back.
So what are the 3 main takeaways from your time at Millfield Prep?
Oh, that's a great question. A word that gets said a lot that needs to be mentioned is opportunity. I think when I was at school, we kind of got to do the basic sports, and I think you guys are very, very lucky to have so many opportunities. There's so many things to do. So opportunity to be one. I think my second one would be family. It's got a very family feel about the community. So whether it's kind of open days or whether it's the May Day we had recently, everyone kind of comes together. So I think family is a big one. And I'd say brilliance. So brilliance would be my last one. So it's my favourite school value, brilliant. And I think it's because there's a real kind of task here to make sure that we discover every brilliance in every pupil. And I feel like everyone has got their own brilliance. And it's my favourite value. So I'd say family, opportunity and brilliance.
Oh, well, thank you for coming and answering our questions.
Thank you for having me.